morning. It's Monday the 13th of January and the European markets will open in approximately 20 seconds. Just gonna get Telegram started. There we go. That is live on all. So let me just post the YouTube link. So here's the Footsie and here's the DAX. Do you know, I like to start something. I just had a somewhat contentious conversation with someone, and I haven't put in the individual's name there, but I posted that I posted status on my account just now in Telegram, and this individual saying, when did you post these trades? And I just want to point out that this is my Telegram account. On Friday, I'm writing, I'm still short, but I'm locking in gains. I can't let a 10% day pass me by. At that point, I have £182 in open profit. I think the issue here is I'm writing closing Footsie now, big profit. But the reality is I don't know if you saw this, but in the Footsie, I actually added to the Footsie. Let me just see here. Half added to the Footsie. And I decided I'm just going to leave that. Anyway, so this person here is, oh, there's his name, but there you go. There's a million Nikolais in the world. But how in the world could I know that when you only say closing Footsie now? And I'm thinking, hang on, what is this righteous attitude? So I'm saying, can't you just be happy with the good trade? Yeah, I'm happy for the big win on Friday, but I feel if you want transparency, you should just say that you're holding over the weekend. Well, I closed the main position, but those who want to close can do so. I'm not mad at all, just my point of view. Yeah, but your point of view feels really entitled for someone who shares his bloody account details, everything. Now, I'm not saying that I need you to be on your knees and bow over in gratitude, but yeah, I feel like I had at least the right going, you know, I'm just going to run this add-on, and I'm trying to post absolutely everything. I'm really quite insulted by someone saying that if you want transparency, because I feel like I am doing absolutely everything that no one else in the bloody YouTube landscape in the world is doing. But if you feel that, or if you share Nikolai's sentiment, then please write to me on @TomHouGAARD. I would very much like to hear if I've got things wrong. So here's the status. I'm still short a little bit in the Dow. I actually closed. I had a little bit of Nasdaq left as well. I posted that on Friday night, my position status. And yeah, I think I wanted to show you a couple of things today. that I think is interesting. But anyway, look, I'm not angry with Nikolai as a person, just the sentiment that that I am not being transparent. When I think, show me another public trader that shows his account details and everything that follows with it, because I don't see it. But if I've missed something here, then I happily stand corrected and learn from whatever misgivings or mistakes if you feel that I made some. I'd like to show you the, if I get rid of this, if I show you the weekly chart of the DAX. So here's the weekly chart of the DAX. I think this is interesting because what you'll notice is that the DAX practically made an all-time high last week and then came off the boil. It was pretty beautiful double top. And it was a positive close for the week. If you look at the daily chart, that's where it begins to become a little interesting, because this bar here, which is the Friday close bar, doesn't close below this bar here. But if we were to close where we are right now, then you have what's called a fishing signal. It's not the best fish signal in the world, because a fishing signal ideally wants to go above prior high, and it didn't. But I'm going to argue that if we get a close below this high bar here, so if we get a close below 20,242 today, it opens up the DAX going down to 19,747. Now just remember this, because I want to show you the Dow Jones index, because I think that's particularly interesting. And I'm going to start off with the weekly chart. So the weekly chart for me is interesting because, oh God, I wish I could get rid of these lines here, but I don't know how to. It's my own software and I don't know how to get rid of the lines. Maybe if I click there. No, if I click here. Yeah, there we go. This bar here is the weekly bar from last week. And what I find is interesting is that we close below this low. And I think that's important. It's important because you had a very, very strong push up from post-election in America. And all of those Donald Trump-infused gains have now been eviscerated, all of them. The first warning sign, if you track the Dow Jones index generally on a weekly chart, you should look out for if a market closes below the previous week's low. Now, in fairness, this just foregone year, it didn't happen very often. It happened here, and we saw 2 weeks of follow through. It happened here, and you saw 1 week of follow through, barely. And then as you move up, you see, okay, it isn't very frequent, but when it does, it at least opens the door to a bigger correction, which is why it's a really important part of the journey of being a trader, is the ability to be able to sell weakness. It goes contrary to our instincts If we see something cheap in the supermarket, we want to be a buyer. And if we see the market has declined, our instinct gravitates towards, oh, I want to get in on this bargain. But perhaps by studying the weekly chart, you are able to override that tendency and reprogram your mind to say, well, if we close below a prior week's low, I should be thinking selling. Now, of course, if you notice this bar here, which is the first one in September, you also get a close below the previous week's low. But the very next week, the market is roaring higher. Then over here, you have a close below previous week's low, and you get absolutely no follow through whatsoever. And then you had the election. This bar was negative, but it didn't close below. And the previous week went below, but it didn't close below. And then it's beginning to get interesting. Now this is where the 500-day cycle culminated on the 9th of December, and I made a very public call that I want to short. The high of the Dow Jones was 45,040, and through an absolute miraculous piece of luck, I managed to short the Dow at 44,980, just 60 points from the all-time high, and I rode it all the way down. This sounds like I'm showing off. I'm really not. That's what happened. This bar here closes below the all-time high bar's low, and that really did set in motion a cascade in what's probably a thin holiday trading week anyway. Just want to very quickly zoom over on the FTSE chart, because the first bar is negative, and that means I would like to be a buyer below 8221. It went as low as 822.8 and now 8221.8, so it hasn't actually gone below. I am not keen on being a buyer today, though. I have to tell you that. Whatever the technique says. But I'll probably have to do it. So here we are. $8220.60, and I'm going to have a stop loss at 8200.6. Anyway, I'm just going to go back to the Dow. And so we had somewhat of a bounce into late December, and we have now closed below the low of that bounce here. And I think that's significant because it opens the door to much lower prices. But hey, I don't want to get ahead of myself. The Nasdaq is very interesting, because the all-time high that we are seeing in Nasdaq is here, is this bar here. And if we close below that bar, and you see how close we came on Friday, but if we close below it this week, then it actually opens up the way to 20,000 again. But if you look at the daily chart, you will see a different picture. Actually, you wouldn't see a different picture, but you're seeing that the bounce that we saw in early January, we closed below that low here. And sure, we're sat under support, but it's going to be a really interesting week. without a doubt. This is kind of a crunch time in how I read the charts. So we'll see. Let's get the position monitor up and running. There we go. I had some material prepared. I must admit I was thrown a little bit by the comments that I discussed earlier. I think every human being has a sense of justice or injustice balance built in, and if that balance is somewhat shook, it can really affect us emotionally if we feel like we're doing everything rightly and justly. Someone questioning that is unpleasant. I had some material prepared. It was actually more of emotional nature than physical nature, but I think what I'll do is I'll just probably keep this a shorter version. It didn't help that I had a pretty sleepless night because I was thinking a lot about the markets, and I was also, admittedly, I was also up and watching the market. I couldn't help myself. So I'm currently about 3 points in profit. My stop loss is down here. If I look at the current 15-minute bar, it has a low of 8218. So I think I'll move my stop loss to 8212. What's that? 8213. And let's get the it's difficult to have a position on that you fundamentally don't believe in because you're bearish. Really difficult. But now my stop loss has been cut to just 7 points. So I'll accept whatever happens. I want to work with somewhat bigger stop losses this week. And then reduce the stake size somewhat. The account has grown without the open profit 12% in the last week, but I'm not ready to increase the trading size yet. So as you can see, I'm still short from Friday in the DAX. And that's the aggressive school run that is triggering in the DAX. I think my DAX, my FTSE position is going to get stopped out. I've put a stop loss about 5 points below the first 15-minute candle, been stopped out. In approximately 7 minutes, we're going to get the school run bar. Of course, on this trading platform, there is a function where if you press hedging, you can actually have a long position and a short position at the same time, which if I'm presented with a long position, while I don't actually want to take it because I'm bearish, I am very bearish, but I have to balance that bearishness with just adding some capital to the trading account, which is why I took my profit in the FTSE from Friday. The add-on that I had, I closed that at 25 just before the market opened, or about half an hour, which I think was what caused some consternation amongst, well, one person in particular. Just going to take a 1 minute break. Thank you for your patience. Don't know if you've seen this, but on the 4-hour chart, the DAX went down to the last support. So in a couple of minutes, 1 minute, the school run bar will trigger, probably to the downside. It's currently requiring an 63-point stop loss. So I'm going to reduce the stake size. I might even reduce it a little bit more than that. Can I do that? And then just put it at 100. So here we go. The low is, so you'll see my software now pop up some alerts. Be interesting to draw. See, interesting how it's beginning to sort of pop through. It didn't used to do that. So the low is 99. And I want to see if I can my fill should be about 94. Doesn't really matter that much, but I want to wait. See if I can get a slightly better fill. I can draw that Fibonacci, that 38% idea. Comes in at 226, 21.26. FTSE is actually putting me to shame. My first bar negative is working, but I moved my stop loss so tight. It went below The first bar negative low had a low of 21. It went as low as 10, so 10 points, 11 points lower. And it's climbing a little higher. I'm shorting the DAX here on a school run short. So that's what it looks like. So what I've done here is, if I can get rid of these lines, I've shorted below the second 15-minute bar, and that's called the school run short. I placed a stop loss, rather sizable stop loss, because I decreased my trading size on this 10,000 pound account that I intend to trade live all year and hopefully grow. I have quite a lot of material I wanted to share with you today, but I think I'll just put it together in a more visual PowerPoint presentation between now and the US session. So I think I'll manage this position in my Telegram channel, which of course you are more than welcome to be part of. And then I'll sort of keep this a shorter version, because I haven't got any trades to really go through and review with you, because I did that on the weekend review. So maybe it's just better to save my energy for the US session and then see how this goes. Right now I'm seeing buyers stepping in below this low here. So I'll keep this a shorter version today. This morning. And then I will see you at the US session. I'll probably start the US session a little earlier, because I want to go through a couple of things that I feel has relevance to what it is that we're doing every day. So thank you very much for being here for this somewhat shorter edition of video 10. And I will see you later. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Before I go, actually, I just so here's status. I have two positions in the DAX. The one I just initiated here. It's currently 20 points offside. I'm trading it in a little bit less than half the size I should. And I still have some left of my Dow position on Friday. And the same for the DAX on Friday. So I ran it over the weekend. And the account is currently plus 11, 12% with another 3.5% in open profit. So that's it. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye-bye.